Hello viewers and welcome back to another Webtoon rundown. We are here today with School Bus Graveyard, one of Webtoon's most recently popular tunes. It is a thriller webtoon with some decent immersion scares during the beginning. It revolves around a group of teenagers that had the world flipped upside down for no real reason. Throughout the story, they band together, build bonds, and kick ass. And later down the line, they start to figure out the mysteries surrounding their situation. I'd say getting into it right about now is a perfect time to get in. Although the setup has been established, and right now we're starting to solve some mysteries, albeit it's getting more complicated. This webtoon had a surge of marketing around mid-October on YouTube. More specifically with that one song that goes, "I'll meet you at the graveyard when you lay down, when you stay down." And that's what caused me and a lot of people to go and check it out. And fast forward 2 months later, I'm here with an opinion. But before I say so, here's a quick rundown to what School Bus Graveyard is. The story begins with Ashlyn, a 15-year-old girl who is a loner and a bit possessed. Just kidding. She does something called ballet. A plot twist. I'm not actually kidding. Ashlyn is special. She's got super sensitive hearing and sometimes hears ghost stuff, which means she's special. Anyway, one normal school day, she's out just being her normal, introverted, loner self, and suddenly she gets adopted by this crazy fuck who just transferred in with his cuz, and this guy really wants to be friends with her, and she's like, "No, I don't want to be friends. I want to be alone and moody." And he's like, "Well, that's too damn bad." So a school trip comes around and she's like, "Yeah, fuck that shit." But he's like, "Not on my Overwatch," and forges her parents' signature on a trip slip so she can go on the trip. So technically Neil kidnapping. And that's how we get introduced to every other protagonist. They were forced to group aside. So while we go all the characters right here, let's give a quickie old intro to all of them. Reintroducing Ashlyn. The Queen Bee looks like someone I know, is a strong and logical leader, not overwhelming with the fact that she's, strong like these people. At times you do recognize that this is indeed a 15-year-old, and she does have her own charms. Aiden. Alright, this fucker is a hyperactive, thrill-seeking, adrenaline junkie who scantily reminds me of another certain personality. He's mostly shits and giggles, but keeps up the team morale, and is sort of a safety hazard. He does come to recognize that not everything is meant for his clown shoes, and he's sort of growing up. And with the increasing amount of screen time he and Ashlyn gets, I believe that Aiden will indeed become friends with Ashlyn. This lovely giant is a cinnamon roll that can kill you. He's got bad anger issues, man, and is mute. Usually with mute characters, they match the lack of words with charm, if not even more. Ben does match it. Not more than necessary, but just does his thing. Be like Ben, people. Be like Ben. Logan. Logan is the definition of insecurity and timidness. He also reminds me of someone. He would represent the group's innocence if he wasn't so goddamn good at the old American amendments. And for some reason, he's also the community's adopted puppy. Whatever this guy does, everyone ahs and oohs in the comments below. Just because he's a nice dude that is precious and absolutely did nothing to deserve something like bullying. But hey, that's life. Bullying builds character in people. He'll be fine. He'll grow into a stronger man. I'm fucking kidding, people. Don't be assholes. Tyler is a typical jockey hothead, but is also an overprotective brother of his twin sister, Taylor. The dude is a great pessimist. He challenges everything, including Ashlyn's leadership, which I think is a good thing. He is pessimism done right. Not too much to make him annoying, but sort of there to make it appreciated. He also reminds me of certain someone. And finally, Taylor. Her whole thing is basically being the opposite of Tyler, aka the group's mama. Alright, with all those introductions out of the way, let's go back to the story. So, these group of 6, they go on this trip to Savannah, the holy grail of misfortune, and have a good old time. But suddenly, a totally non-suspicious woman comes out of nowhere and is like, "Hey kids, wanna visit this haunted house? On the house?" And they're like, that's kind of weird. Fuck yeah! So they go in, see all sorts of weird shit, and meet this thing. And this fucker is like, "Oh, that was just a shadow, mate. Nothing to fret about." But plot twist, it wasn't a shadow. So, as it turns out, them entering the mansion made an opening of a portal akin to hell, or Call of Duty Zombies. And every night at 12 AM, they all get knocked into this alternate world where they get hunted by these creepy thugs, and any damage they sustain is carried over, albeit not so visible. There are more finer details like supernatural powers and like healing and stuff. I'm too lazy to talk about it. So the gang all works together to survive till 6 AM. No, I'm not joking. They're stuck living like this until they figure a way to get out of their hell. During their months there, they train, build infrastructure, and plan what to do to get out of here. I think that was probably my most favorite thing about season 1. The fact that they heist planned it all the way through, and the fucking SWAT 6 siege shit they go do in the finale. Now, a good indication that you'll be here in the long run is if you do like the main 6. There hasn't been much development with the grander plot, even so far in season 2. Season 1 has them figuring out what the hell they're in and focusing on survival. Season 2 is answering some questions, but at the same time it's making things more complicated. So, we still don't know what the hell these things are, we don't know what the hell this latest cult is, what they did or why they're doing it, and what the hell the alternate dimension is. If there's one thing to sell, it's the fact that our characters are on a time limit. As the story progresses, they're becoming more and more inhumane due to the long exposure to the alt dimension. And I don't mind to see the chaos that comes from them turning into a zombie-like thing later down the road, and the consequences it may bring, especially to their parents. Did I mention the parents? They're in on it too. This is like the one and only fucking like webtoon where the parents are actually canon. Now everybody's an orphan. So, what's my opinion on this? Personally, I do indeed like School Bus Graveyard. As in, I didn't just read all of this just for the sake of reading it for this video. I did get attached to the characters. They're goofy, and they just have good chemistry. Most of all, there isn't any bullshit like tragic drama or love getting in the way. The story is very linear, which I appreciate. Is this honestly the best story I ever read? No, definitely not. Is it even top 10? Hell no. But you don't need everything to be perfect just to enjoy and anticipate where this story may lead to next. School Bus Graveyard is just good enough for most people to just enjoy. If I did, I believe you guys will too. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up School Bus Graveyard. But before I end this video, there's one thing I like to mention. Like I did with my previous video, I asked for recommendations, which I got a lot of good ones. I'm currently reading into Plus 99 Stick, and I can't wait to release a Webtoon video on this. In the meantime, the next video will cover Maybe Meant to Be, a romance Webtoon that's worth everyone's time. So if you got an underrated recommendation, please comment down below. And until next time, good night, viewers.